those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate them. This is the daily forecast, or sorry, not daily forecast, the monthly Tarotscope for the sign of Sagittarius. If you have a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising, you may want to watch this to see what kind of April you may have. If you have heavily placed planets in the sign of Sagittarius, you may want to watch this video. I would consider 3 or more planets heavily placed. This is a broad spectrum reading, so it's going to be spoken in broad terms, obviously, to reach as many people as possible. Some things may make sense and some things won't. Take what you need and leave the rest. Different houses and degrees in each house are all going to have an effect, and what other planets are at play in your own horoscope. But this is to give you a broad overview and an idea. If you wanted something more specific to you could certainly connect with me at my Facebook business page and set up a private reading. I just put in the chat my new Linktree links with all of my links to all of my socials and to the Patreon page, all of that stuff. So you can utilize that and check that out. Follow me at different places. So the other thing I'm going to say with this, because I don't normally put this in the video description, but in the video descriptions of my dailies, there's a lot of information as to how to support the channel and what you should keep in mind when using my videos. So I'm going to say this here. Whenever you watch any of my videos and then you go and make decisions in your day-to-day life, those decisions are solely your responsibility. So always use your own highest intelligence and intuition when making those decisions. Never take anything that I say over that of a professional in their field, like a doctor, lawyer, or therapist. Always listen to them first and foremost, just for your own safety and well-being. All right, so let's see what Sag needs to know. This first card is the signifier for the month of April. It's from the I Am Vibrational deck, and I wanted to use this deck for the fire sign. I just felt the I Am statement felt very strong, plus it was a beautifully vibrant orange box. And I guess maybe it's the coming of spring and the equinox and being in Aries season just made me feel like excited to use for the fire signs. I felt like it was very in line with you guys this month. So let's see what's going on for my Sages. Okay, Sag, interesting. Oh, of course, you're going to get all metaphysical on my ass. I am the magic in my vibrational life. I love this card. It's very pretty, but not very fiery. I mean, it's beautiful. It is an 11. It's card number 29, which totals down to an 11, which is similar. Aries had card number 11, so it is a master number card, but of course leave it to expansive Sagittarius to be all out there in the ethers, like floating around with your Merkaba, like I live. It's good. I like the cool tones to the colors. I like the cloudy nature, the broad, the sort of the visuals of the sky and the open feeling of this card make me feel like, it goes right along with sort of the expansive nature of the sign of Sagittarius, right? So you guys are going to maybe be looking at the bigger picture, enjoying the magic or the synchronicities that are going on in your life in the month of April, being appreciative of them and really connecting to them at a deeper level or a more, profound level, more obvious level where it's very apparent for you. I also kind of feel like when I'm looking at these cards, expect maybe doors to open for you this month, opportunities to present themselves. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from that big open sky. Even though there's clouds out in that sky, I'm not bothered by any of that. All of this sparkling light and these geometric patterns to me feel like we're traveling through space and time, just doing our own weird, trippy Sagittarian thing that maybe isn't necessarily understood by everybody else, but we're enjoying it. So let's get with it. Get it, Magic Pony. All right, so let's see what's going on in the cards for my Sagittarius. All right. So the center card is where you guys are centered at for the month of April. You'll be going in and out of this card throughout the month, but it gives me indication as to sort of where you're centered at and what you could potentially be creating for the future. All right, here we go. My Sagittarius, you guys are the first of the fire signs that are kicking off with fire. It is the Knight of Wands. This is your home element of fire. It's about getting in there and doing it, right? Doing the damn thing, getting stuff done, feeling vibrant, feeling alive, the coming of spring, taking action, maybe making a move. Some of you could be making a move towards, a move. Like, that didn't make a lot of sense. Sometimes the Knight of Wands can be like sort of a passionate kind of, how do I want to put this? He could be a passionate sort of a purveyor of passion. Let's say that. It can sometimes indicate somebody making a step towards romance or towards passion, right? So some of you could be deciding to do that. This would definitely be in your wheelhouse and also associated with your sign. It being the Knight of Wands, it would definitely fall into the fire signs. You might find a new passion project. It doesn't necessarily have to be love-related passion. It could be something that you're excited about throughout this month, that you're starting to create, that you want to put together. The only thing is sometimes with the Knight of Wands, do you have the staying power to see it through? That would be my only question, because sometimes the Knight of Wands and sometimes the Knight of Swords can be a little bit impulsive, and they come on strong, or the energy's hot and fierce and ready to go early on. But do we have the staying power? We'll know as we look at the rest of the cards to see. But think about, like, what is it that we want? What is it that we desire? And desire, when I use the word desire, doesn't necessarily have to be like a romantic desire. It can be any type of desire. With this Knight of Wands in the center, we could very well start to take active steps towards going towards whatever that desire is in the month of April. So, and I love that fox is what this cat chooses to ride. To me, the fox indicates like sort of slyness, cunning, problem solving, being, a little bit able to think outside of the box, right? About how to find solutions or take steps towards whatever it is we're looking for, right? So thinking about that, and also this idea of I am the magic in my vibrational life, that fox would be creating some of that magic, right? By thinking outside of the box, or by being a little bit, cunning in a way, right? So let's keep that in mind as we move forward in this reading and see where this goes. The next card is the Foundation. This tells me a little bit about sort of what was going on in the past that everything's built upon today. This card can be what's driving everything into the future or holding everything in place in the now. So let's see. So this is the Two of Swords. Not a horrible card. It is your complementary sister energy. Air feeds fire, so we're okay with that. But this particular version of the Two of Swords always feels interesting to me because he's on this tightrope. It feels like we feel restricted, right? And traditionally, the Two of Swords has a woman. The blindfold is very common with the Two of Swords, but she has those two swords across her. And sometimes she can have a beneficial feel. She'll feel like she's drawing boundaries or saying a clear no. To me, this feels restricted. This feels like maybe my Sagittarius in the past haven't necessarily felt like they've had the freedom to move or do what they want to do. Intuitively, they've had word, right? That moon and that Two of Swords would speak to the idea that you guys have been in connection or in certainly in communication with yourself and your intuition as to what you want to do, but has life been really able to allow you to do that? Have you been strapped in some way, shape, or form to maybe a responsibility or a limitation that has not allowed you to move forward? With that Knight of Wands in the center and this card, this I am the magic in my vibrational life, it says to me that you might be thinking or seeing things differently at this point. There might be something opening up for you, or an opportunity that's changing, like the energy shifting. Maybe it's, I don't know, depending on where you are located in the geolocated on the planet. For some of you, it could just be the weather changing, us coming into spring, that energy that we feel. It excites us and it opens things up for us in an opportunity, or feels like an opportunity for change, right? The Two of Swords would indicate that we felt maybe stuck a little bit, or with not a lot of options on our plate. And knowing that, right? And knowing that maybe the options that were there weren't necessarily anything that we were interested in or wanted. And so we kind of just hung out there, or maybe, kept the peace because we had to, is the feeling that I've got there. The Knight of Wands in the center feels like we might be ready to do something different at this point during the month of April and move towards something different. So let's see what's going on in the Spirit or Soul card. This is above you. So this is the Seven of Wands. I'll take it because it's fire sign energy. Seven of Wands indicates a battle. It usually indicates standing for your truth. And it can indicate a win. The Six of Wands is much more victorious, in my opinion, but it's like it can be a hard won battle. It can feel like sort of eyes are on us, or we have to defend our stance, our position, our belief, and we have to fight for it. And I feel like when I see this in the spirit space, it makes me wonder. It almost makes me, because spirit is never going to make us have to fight, right? Spirit will fight for us, don't get me wrong, but when I look at this in the spirit space, it kind of takes on this sort of different meaning, in the sense that I feel like the question here is, do we really want it? Do we really feel as though we deserve it? Are we really willing to put it out there? Are we willing to sort of, when I look at the restraint that I see on that Two of Swords, that cat that's on the tightrope, blindfolded in the dark, it's like something in the past we were hiding, restraining, keeping hidden deep within our subconscious, whatever it is, maybe not even admitting it to ourselves, or certainly not to those around us. It's like the Knight of Wands wants to pounce. He wants to spring forward. He wants to act. The Seven of Wands says to me, especially at the spirit level, I'm willing to fight. Are you? Are you willing to stand in your truth? And the reason why I say truth is because this is a fire sign reading, and that is a Wands card. So to me, it's like Wands is about action and desire, in my opinion, about taking that action, standing in that truth, even if there's like some sort of, judgment, ridicule, kickback, whatever. But to me, this being in the spirit space says that we can handle this if we choose to, but we have to sort of step forward, be strong, and make that conscious choice. That's also another aspect of a seven to me. The numerological value of the seven is also sort of making that active choice towards moving ourselves further along towards the 8, 9, and 10, and closing up the chapter and starting new again. Does that make sense? So will we stand strong in our spirit and be backed up in what it is we desire and take that action, is kind of the question that I'm getting there. The next two cards are the outside influences. These are either positive or negative, and they are affecting us. They can be things like people or events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that could be having an effect on us, and we should just be made aware of them. So one is, oh, beautiful, the Ten of Cups. So here's Sag's nurturing, loving, like energy. Well, this is not your energy, right? But this is a nurturing, loving sort of emotional energy that I was seeing kind of happening in both Leo and Aries readings. I feel like this is an outside influence coming in towards you, right? We see this beautiful family coming together. And again, like I was saying with the Seven of Wands up there, it's like, do we make the conscious choice to sort of move towards the balance of the 8 and then the closing of the 9 to the 10, right? This 10 over here is this idea that there is this abundance and well-being, emotional connection that's out there for us. If we seek it, if we go after it, if we see it, if we acknowledge it, if we honor it, and we hold true to it, right? If we don't like turn our back on it or put a blindfold on it and pretend like it's not there. It's also interesting too, because there was 2 different rainbows that showed up in the other 2 readings, in Leo and in Aries, in different places in the reading, and we have a rainbow here. And so I just have to call that out because I think it's kind of funny that, and it wasn't all just in these cards. There was a rainbow in this card in the first one for Aries. So just so you know, and actually in Leo's, theirs was in the Sagittarian card that was in this position, in the same exact position. There was a rainbow in that card for Temperance. So I kind of feel like for my fire signs, it's about finding some sort of a deeper emotional connection than what you've been like maybe existing upon for a while now, right? And to me, this 10 of Cups speaks to the idea that the universe, situations around you, those around you want to love you, want to connect with you, want to sort of give you the things that you deserve and that you need, but you have to be willing to sort of make that choice. That Two of Swords indicates, even though it's from the past, like a restrained period that we were in the past, are we willing to make that choice? Are we willing to step forward? Are we willing to take the blindfold off and let ourselves off the sort of off of that, right? And that restraint is still a memory that exists underneath there. And then this idea of the Seven of Wands in the spirit space speaks to this idea of, are we willing to fight for what it is that we desire? And that's kind of why when I said with the Knight of Wands in the center, it's like, do we have the staying power to really stick this out? It's worth sticking out when I'm looking at that 10 of Cups, but do you as a Sagittarian understand that? That's the question. The other side of the coin here is the Knave of Chalices. This would be the Page of Cups. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio energy. This would also be water sign energy. So we've got a lot of emotive energy around my Sag, or around the Sages at this time. But this Knave of Cups or Knave of Chalices, this could be a younger person, somebody that thinks outside of the box, somebody of the water sign variety. It is magical thinking, certainly. It is somebody with an open mind, somebody who sees things from a different perspective, right? It's usually, he can represent outside of the box thinking, maybe might bring you some sort of way of seeing the world that is more, how do I want to say this, like more inspiring or more maybe even childlike or exciting. There's always an optimism with knaves. There's always a like an enthusiasm, a freshness with them, right? So, and if this is not a person, maybe this is a situation with that 10 of Cups on the either side. To me, it looks like for my Sagittarius, this month of April is really an opportunity to sort of get into what it is you want. Let go of what doesn't work for you. That's the Two of Swords. Whatever in the past that's held you back or restrained you for whatever reasons, whatever you've thought, like, oh, I'm doing this for this reason or that reason or yada, yada, yada. Let go of that garbage, basically, because it's just kept you sort of pent up. And you've known that. Like that moon to me and that Two of Swords says to me that you've known that, like intuitively. The Seven of Wands says, you know, get into that fiery energy and fight for what it is that you want. And then the Knight of Wands is like, act, like take steps to do the action towards moving yourself towards the things that you desire that make you feel good, right? And the reason why I say feel good is because we have all of these feelings, emotions, energy on either side of you coming at you. The Knave and the 10 of Cups, both being Cups energy, are going to be about emotions and what makes us feel good. And so that Knight of Wands is going to want to move towards that or expand towards that. We see that here. You are the magic. Sag. So with that number 11 here, this master number, it's like we get an opportunity here to sort of be the master of our own destiny in a way, make the decisions that we want to make, not necessarily out of restriction or fear, but out of desire and fight in a way, like, because that's the Seven of Wands. It's not like we have to fight for it, but we have to stand firm and true in it, and then go for it, and then allow yourself to be you know, given the benefit that we see in these Cups cards on either side, right? The Knave and the 10 of Cups. Now, the next card is the potential outcomes card. It tells me a bit about sort of how things are going to end out for the Sages in the month of April. It's not set in stone, though, by any means. So if you see this card and it is a you know, something you don't want to see happen or that you don't like, you can know that you can, through free will, you can make choices and changes to affect the outcome. But if this card is beneficial and you like it, take heart in the fact that you're naturally heading towards it. You know, and you don't have to do much to make it happen. It will just sort of come about. Okay. We've got the Three of Swords. So, not the best outcome for my Sages. And part of my reason I'm going to say this is I think that Two of Swords down below has a little bit more sway and power on some of my Sages, or at least the majority of you, that might keep you guys stuck in a situation or a heartache that you don't feel as though you can get free of. And it's interesting to me because I feel like with the Knave of Chalices and the Ten of Cups, there's a lot of opportunity for emotional well-being this month. But for it to end on the Three of Swords, it's like somebody has to lose, something has to suffer, something has to be sacrificed, or fear of that. And so in doing that, maybe I don't know. I feel like in maybe doing that, we don't allow ourselves the emotional connection that we see in these outside influences. Like I almost feel like this Three of Swords is us either shutting ourselves off or maybe staying kind of like going back into that Two of Swords energy, like that lack of sort of the ability, and that's so not Sagittarius to me. What is going on here? Because this card here says, I am the magic in my vibrational life. Like you have all the control this month, Sag. You have all of the control, but are you brave enough to take it? That's the thing. And that's why it's like number 11. To me, it feels like that's why it's the master number. And I feel like the Seven of Wands says like we have to stand in our truth. We have to fight for it. We have to, you know, even if it requires maybe, and for some of you, this Three of Swords could be if we stand in our truth and we go after the Ten of Cups and the Page of Cups, we might have to hurt some people. And that could be the Three of Swords, right? Or some, you know, like whatever we've been doing in the past in that Two of Swords to restrain ourselves, blindfold ourselves, keep ourselves like walking that tight and narrow path. It's like one of two things. Either us getting off of that path and going for something more expansive could do harm to others, right? We fear that. And that could be the Three of Swords, is that, you know, others are like upset with us or hurt by our decision to take a different route or move in a different direction or whatever. Or we suffer the Three of Swords by staying in that sort of restraint and letting these opportunities pass us by. And that would be the opportunities of the Ten of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the opportunity to truly exist in this idea of the magic, like being the magic and being in charge of that and seeing it through and making it happen. We also see that magic. Oh, interesting. There's a moth at my window. When I said a moth to a flame in the other window, in the other reading. It's interesting to me too, because there's magic in that Page of Cups. The Page of Cups represents like he's the quintessential magical thinker of the deck. He's like talking to a fish in a goblet, for Christ's sake. So it's like he's very aware of how he connects to his own magic, and he's there to maybe show you. But are you brave enough to be shown? That's my question for you, Sag. I hope that, and like I said, that Three of Swords is not set in stone, guys. You can utilize it as a warning to make choices and changes now, but it looks like a cloudy ending. It's not like a very happy card. It's a kind of either Sag is hurting someone else or hurting themselves in the process by month's end. So, and I kind of get the feeling that with that Two of Swords in the bottom and the Seven of Wands up above, it looks to me more like this could be Sag hurting their own selves than others through that Three of Swords. That's my feeling. Like you guys won't trust the Cups energy or the benefit. I mean, there will still be good things that happen to you for the month of April, but like the vibes around you are good. The cards around you are there and available to you. But will you take them? That's the question. And again, like I said, the Three of Swords isn't set in stone. It's telling us kind of where things are at right now. So that Two of Swords might be stronger than we realize, or that Knight of Wands in the very center may not be as what's the word, vigilant enough to go after whatever it is they may desire. And whatever it is they may desire, whether it's romantic or not, you know, they have to desire it and be willing to fight for it, or stand in that and go after it, and even to the dismay of others, right? If there's, you know, say it's a job we want, a different job or pay increase, well, we may have to leave the job that we've been at forever and we don't want to upset our boss. But if we don't, you know, if we don't do it, then we end up staying in somewhere where we're not happy. And if we do it, then we end up maybe hurting them, right? That would be that Three of Swords kind of energy. So, but it doesn't have to be a betrayal. It really doesn't have to, because when I go back to this right here, this I am the magic in my vibrational life, it's like, that to me says you can have whatever you want. You don't have to betray somebody to get there. And it's funny too, because it's like with this card right here, the restriction that I feel like is in this Two of Swords, this is from the past. However you set this up for you, whenever you set this up for you, whatever this restraint is and how it formed in your life, and it's going to be different for each and every one of you, it was set up in such a way that it was almost like when you allowed it to be set up, however it went about, you betrayed yourself then, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. And so I do think that there's a way to see this month out without having to arrive at the Three of Swords and have like a secondary betrayal. But you have to see that for yourself. And I don't know if you can with that blindfold on and that Two of Swords. All right, that's your forecast, Sag. Sorry if that was a little bit weird, but that's the best that's what I'm sort of sensing and seeing. You have like all of this possibility. And again, number 11, which would mean mastery. Like, so do we break free of whatever this is that's restraining us? It's there for you if you want it. So that is your forecast for April. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow my Linktree links everywhere, and, you know, look at my stuff and support me in whatever way you feel so inclined. I look forward to seeing you guys next month and seeing how this all plays out. Again, that Three of Swords is not set in stone. You don't have to end up there. That's not the total outcome for April, but it could potentially be if you decide to stay, you know, I don't know, like not, it's like avoiding the elephant in the room is kind of the feeling I'm getting. All right, I'll let you guys go. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so much for tuning in. All right, take care. Bye-bye.